you guys meant to be here. This is the features talk. So we'll just go ahead and get started. Yeah, good job. All right. My name is Steven. Oh, you took the stuff out of the slide, didn't you? Look at you causing problems. All right, so my name is Steven. I'm Jackson or Rooted Logics pretty much anywhere on the internet unless it's something really bad, and that's totally not me. And this is Phpstorm, and he was supposed to be up there, but he doesn't do any internets anyway. So usually people go on and on about who they are and stuff and talk, and you don't care who I am. You came here to look at features. So basically, we're working with the Drupal workflow, and you guys are probably pretty familiar with working with Drupal, but basically you set up core, you get your contributed modules, you're starting to create your content types, and creating views to make some kind of sense of whatever content you're storing within those content types, and then maybe writing custom modules. And Roger and I butt heads about custom modules, but I don't care because I love custom. But part of the problem, besides Roger, is that code is versionable, but the database not so much. And if anybody's worked with the databases, you know what's the right thing to do. Like Drupal, just a lot of stuff is stored. The configuration is stored in the database. It's not in the code. The code drives, what is on the website, but the features of the website, to use a horribly inappropriate word for this talk. But all the configuration is within the database, and so if a developer is working on something and then another developer is working on something, and how do you merge that code? How do you manage those changes? Do you make changes then on your dev site and then pull it local, or if you're working in a different workflow, pull it to your dev server? That'll overwrite local changes. You don't want to overwrite your local work. Or you push your database up, which is a horrible thing to do, and you should be sprayed in the face like this cat here if you do that. So the solution, besides alcohol, is we cannot merge databases. I mean, if you can figure out how to merge databases, there are millions of dollars out there for you. And especially with Drupal and how normalized the database is, and there's just data everywhere. And you create new fields, new modules, there's new tables all over the place. So how can we get these configurations in the code? We want our database to be versioned as well. We can export views. Views goes, into code. You can actually see the code that views produces. So there is some way of doing that, and it's just code, and we can create custom content types and clone them, and that's essentially just code as well. So, you can write a custom module to create a custom content type to create pages or whatever. So there has to be some way to get into code. And so, can we get it into code? Yes, you can, and Foo can as well. So the features module, you of course knew that it was going to come to this. It allows us to export our views, our context blocks, content types, and blocks are a little iffy issue with features, but for the most part you can, and also dependencies that these modules rely on. And you can use this to kind of create a little bit of a custom module too. So if you wanted to bundle your stuff together, and we're going to go through a live demo of this. So you don't have to pay attention to me right now, this is background. Just go to sleep, I'll wake you up. So basically we can put the custom code into the module. You can do whatever hooks you might want to do, any cron runs or whatever, whatever you want to do. It's your playground. So that's really great that you're given an opportunity to do some custom work within there. And it does all that stuff. It's, lions, tigers, bears, oh my, you're not getting that. It doesn't take the content and put it out into code. That is a beast within the Drupal realm, just migrating content in itself, and that's a day-long talk, I'm sure. You can get some block settings out, like I said, that's iffy, and there are some other things that it doesn't do, but for the most part, it's pretty good. So going on to the next, I really hate slides. I hate reading from the slides. I get bored in talks. Yes, I do also hate Ebola. And so let's just look at a Drupal site. Let's get this stuff, let's click around. PowerPoint is like the worst way to teach anybody anything. Nobody really cares. Oh, crap, all right. So here we go. So we got this brand new Drupal site that I rolled. It's really bare bones. I just installed views, features, and so we're gonna create like a content type, like just really kind of quickly here. So let's go ahead. Let's create a content type. What do we want to call it? Oh yeah, it was doing that when I was practicing earlier too. It's just a horrible setup. I mean, it's totally cool. It's totally cool organizers. So we'll Ebola update, and I'm gonna leave all my misspellings and everything in there. And I'm really good at providing descriptions and everything. So you might want to take notes on that. There, I'm just gonna save this, add some fields real quick. Just as a quick little, let's do a float because let's see. And that's supposed to say Ebola, and I lied. I'm going to change my mistakes. So we're going to go through here. We're going to, you know what, I should have put the develop module on here to generate some content real quick. But we're not going to. We're just going to waste your time and do it as we go. So we're going to hit save. Okay, we got that. That's fantastic. All right, let's go. Let's just add some real quick Ebola percentages in here. It's good for you. You put hair on your chest. 5.9. We'll go with that. We'll go save. So with features, we can go in. We're at our view real quick, and I'm doing this just to, I could have had this set up before, but I want to show you like creating from nothing, adding to the feature, and then later we're going to deploy it to a brand new site. So let's just go ahead and add a new view here. We'll create content of type Ebola update, create a page, call that. Path is going to be Ebola. And let's, what's that? Yeah, Ebola page. Save and exit. And of course we have one piece of content, so that's what it is. Oh, good job, Fu. Good job. Every time. So we're going to get this. We're going to get our page here. It's okay. So this is our view page. We created our content type. We created a view. I'm not going to bother doing any kind of context or whatever. You came here to see features. So I've already enabled the features module. It's just one module within there. You go to click on features. It's got this really kind of sexy interface here that's one line. So you hit create feature. You're going to get like this really cool form on the side here. We're going to call it like Ebola feature, whatever. And it's going to be called Ebola underscore feature, my apt description. You give it a version because this is actually exporting a Drupal module. So you give it some kind of version number there. So over here, this is like the cool shit about stuff. We'll edit that later. About features is that you go over here. It's just like some little controls. Boom! I clicked Ebola update as my content type, and it automatically checked all the dependencies that I need for this. So it depends on the features module. It depends on the number module. It also has the field bases of body, field Ebola percentage, et cetera, et cetera. If we wanted to export any menus, we can do that here. It's pretty decent for permissions as well. And you can click through these, and as you have multiple roles, you can get this going on. What I like to use features for is to bundle like logical pieces of content. So right here, we've created our Ebola content type, and we've created our view. And if we have a bunch of things associated with that, or like an Ebola administrator or whatever, we could bundle all that up into like a package and get this exported out. So I'm going to go grab my views here. And I have a habit of talking fast too, so if I'm talking fast, blame Foo. So what we got here, we're going to go to our handy dandy command line here. Can you see that pretty well? I need to bump up the... see, sites, all modules. So we're going to go in here. I'm going to create a features directory. I like to put any features that I create under sites all into this. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to copy that, what do we call it, Ebola feature. Yeah, we're going to copy that here. So what we're going to see now on this page, we've downloaded it, we haven't installed it, whatever. It's not showing up right now, but now you see this. So it's kind of like the modules page here. So you'll see this will enable the feature and save the settings. So now, this didn't do a whole lot for us for our site right now, other than it got the stuff into code. And if I were to go into my Ebola feature here, I have a habit of doing stuff command line. You see that it exported a .info file, which you need for a module, your .module file. It also exported the views and your field information. And if we were to take a look at this stuff here, you see it created your standard information here for your .info file. Your .module is actually pretty blank, and that's by design. So what you can do in here is you can put in any kind of custom code that you want down here. Put that in there. Hopefully there's nothing going on there. So this export, it's in the code. So what we can do is, I actually probably don't have this under version control, but you can get this, you can commit the code, and you can share it with other people. But what this also does, you see that it has the state over here as default and the actions that you can do. So we've went through, we've put in all our development time, creating this awesome Ebola content type and views, and then you have the Rogers of the world that come around, and they want to be all up in your views business and clicking around and making changes. And so we'll look at this, and he's like, wow, I just went to a views presentation, and I know everything about views, and Now I'm going to say that I don't want any published content on this page because that totally makes sense in Roger's mind. So we're going to go ahead and save this view. And so our page is not going to return any content because, damn it, Roger. So anyway, so now we go to our Ebola page, and we're not going to get what we wanted because Guy just learned 50 minutes ago how to do views and messed everything up. We're going to go back to our feature. We're going to be like, hey, what happened? I don't have time to go look through all this stuff and find out what he did. Oh, this was overridden. What was overridden? So let's go click on that and let's get some information about what happened. Somebody went into the Ebola view and changed it. So that's what happened. Well, crap. Like, I don't want that. I don't want Roger's changes. Like, so let's just go ahead and revert the components. So boom, it's going to go do its thing. And it just took that information from the code and changed that view back to the state that it was prior to Mr. Fancy Pants making his changes.
I think you missed it.
Yeah, you actually missed it there.
Oh, I totally did. Yeah, I'm pretty much the best. So maybe Roger's changes should have been kept and mine. He can be an alright guy. So we're going to do that. We're going to revert these components back from the code. Thank you for teaching me, class.
And recreate would take the changes and incorporate them?
So recreate, what we would do with recreate is, you can use that and download. But I'm going to go on the command line, and if you guys do much in Drupal, you'll know about drush. And one of the most badass drush commands out there is a features command, is drush FU_all. And that will update all your features across the entire site if you want to update everything. It's the best. Seriously. So we're going to go back to this page here. And now, boom, it's going to refresh. We got our view back. That is fantastic. All right. So actually, now we're going to go back into this view here, and we're going to make a bit of a change. And this time, I'm going to keep that change, and I actually want to update my code. So if you're not adding any additional components to the feature, you can just update the code, and that's fine. If you want to add, like, oh, I created another view, that's then you have to go back through that process, click re-download the feature, because you need to explicitly tell it what belongs with that feature. So now we're going to we'll just change the sort criteria. We only have one item here, so it's not going to make it apparent on there. But we'll go ahead and save this view here. And it's going to spin and make music. And okay, it's done. You're good. So we're going to go back to our feature here. And it's going to say that's overridden. But I went through, and this time Fu made the changes, and he's much better views developer than some other mentioned people. So we're going to go click on this. It's overridden. Yeah, we know it's the view, whatever. So if we go in here and look at information, so these are various features commands that are available to us. And as promised, there's drush FU, and you can pass all to it to update all of your features. So we're going to just update this one feature on the site. So we're just going to run feature update. And we're going to say that, yeah, we want to continue. And at this point, this is where we would then do our git commit and commit this code. And then you'll have different versions of the feature available as well. So we've done that. You can also revert from the command line too. My life is kind of on the command line, which is why you guys are staring at this ugly black and green screen. But it works for me. But you can do all this through the interface if you want. You can go and recreate the view basically and download it and then re-extract it and go through that process, or you can do like drush fu and the feature. So that's great that we're able to version these features. We're able to see that people made changes to the views or the content types or whatever we added. If we wanted to add something additional here, like say we want to export the tags taxonomy, then at this point, this is one of those use cases where then you do need to re-download the feature because you added something else. But all you have to do is extract it, put it back in the directory, and commit your code. And that's good. But what is even super more awesomer about this is that it does create a module for you. So, everything that's contrib, everything that really works with Drupal is a module, and you want to use it in more than one place. So now, the world has been decimated because of Ebola, and the survivors want to set up their own internal site. And the reason I'm going through this process is to show you, fine ladies and gentlemen here, that I've done nothing to add to the website or anything. My password, yes, it is root. Don't hack me. So my database password's totally root.
Good to know. So if you recreate the feature, what about your modifications that you made to like info and module files? Are they gonna?
No, I had meant to get back to that. So we updated that feature, and so if you update the module file, it leaves that alone. And that's always going to just be like that initial line of code and the include once your features.inc. Your features.inc file, and we can dive more into like the actual code that's kind of going on there if you guys would like to after we get done with this, and see the actual code that it exports. And I think, as far as machine-generated code, it's actually pretty decent code that it exports. But you do maintain your custom functions and hooks within here. So you're able to maintain that and not worry about it being overwritten. Now, if you were...
Even if you recreate?
Yeah, so that's actually something we should go through. But yeah, it has the module code loaded, so you are good to go. Admin. Now you're starting to see my password convention here. So we're going to go through this. This site has nothing. But what we're going to do is our survivors have found the old Ebola website, and they're unable to get the database running or whatever, but they found this features module, and we're going to visit our new site. So they found the code. They didn't find the database, but they want to rebuild the world, the 2% of the people that are left alive. They've created this awesome survivors.l network here, and what we're going to do is go to this site here. We're a few layers deep. So pretend you're a survivor and you're hacking into the survivor system, into the Ebola system. We're going to go to sites, all modules. There's probably not going to be much here. We're going to make your features. We're going to go in there. We're going to copy that one from sites, presentation, sites, all modules, features, this. We're going to copy that here. And then, so boom, on our on our site, we're going to, well, actually, we're not going to, we need to, enable the module. Use Drush. Drush reads, gets all the dependencies for you. It's saying, okay, it's going to enable Ebola features, CTools, views, and features. Those are the dependencies for this module. It's going to go grab all that stuff that we want. And then I pre-downloaded this in case the Wi-Fi here was awful, but the Wi-Fi at this convention is actually pretty decent. So it was able to enable that. So we're going to go back into our structure. Just by copying over that feature, it was able to, it enabled our feature, it set up the content type, it set up features, it pulled this in, we enabled the feature, we're going to go in here, we're at the default state, so that's wonderful. We go in here, it's going to tell us everything about this feature that we want, about what was included in that feature, our old familiar screen here. This is a brand new Drupal website, but now if we go to /Ebola, well, actually, we don't have any content, so we're not going to see anything there right now. But what we can do is we can add content, and boom, our Ebola update is right there. So we can go ahead and add our update and add a percentage in here, 1.2. We're going to go with that. And then if we go to /Ebola, our view is going to be there, and we just recreated stuff. What a common use case with features might be, you write a lot of websites with blogs. A lot of clients want a blog section on your site. So rather than doing all that work for all these hours of creating the blog and doing that, you just export your blog stuff, typical blog stuff, as a feature, the content type, the views, whatever you might want to have associated, and then you still bill your client for the time that you normally would have taken to write it. And profit is good. So we've got that going on the site. I would like to show some of the code if people aren't scared to look at code. I mean, it won't bite.
I'm not scared of code, love to see it. I'm interested in this feature migration. You have a feature, we'll call it blog 1. You've got the blog, it's functioning on a site, it's got content, it's live, it's living. You decide, holy crap, it needs to be blog 2, whether it's new views or changes to fields on a content type. What's the process of going with content that exists in version 1? What's the process of getting that feature up there? Do we risk destroying that previous content?
Well, the content, and unless you're destroying fields, it shouldn't destroy your actual content. Everything should be fine there. Typically, what I would do, if I were rolling like a feature that might interfere with like the namespace that I might have with something else, I'll name my fields within that item, like the feature name underscore whatever the field name is. That way I don't run into conflicts, and you will run into conflicts.
Like what he said, so if you have a content type and you add a field to it in your database,
right,
you then re-roll the feature, and all you have to do is check that one field because you already have everything else all checked. Well,
because you have the content type already within that feature, you can run an update on it. You don't even have to go in and check that box. Like, because it's already, it knows to look at that content type. But if you were to want to add another content type, then you would have to check that box within there. But you can just run like a feature update.
And it won't destroy the content, it'll just add the new field.
Right, it doesn't destroy content. I don't know if I have my handy dandy IDE ready, you know. Yeah, I usually look through VI, but when I'm showing stuff really quickly, but we might as well fire up good old Phpstorm here, which I believe 8.0 just came out, and so that's awesome. They've got really good Drupal support now, and you can choose your Drupal distribution, and oh. Gray, pulling up some client work. All right. So let's go ahead and open our directory here. We'll open survivors here. So we're going to go to our Cites All modules. And then I like to keep mine in a folder called features. And so our .info file generates what you might think it would want. One of the things I love is that it meets all your dependencies for you. So if your content type is relying on some contributed module like field that you're integrating, it'll automatically meet those dependencies too. You don't have to check the dependencies yourself. If you're using some third-party stuff, it'll automatically pull it in. This is our .module file. Like I said, it's always going to generate this. It's going to be the name of your feature, .features.inc, and anything you put after this, it will keep, and you'll be able to do any form alters you might want to do on that content type, or whatever. So, what's that? I can. Maybe. Yeah, I'm trying to do Command plus like in. Is it? All right. So we're going to look at this features.inc file. And this is basically going to then tell us everything that we're kind of including here. We're using the 3.0 version of views, so it knows to go look for that. And information about our content type is going on in there. And then, so we got our views code. And if you've ever done like a views export, like you'll be kind of familiar with how this code looks here. And basically that's what it's doing, is it's dumping it out to a function within here that it's just returning the view. Any updates that you might add, it'll update that. And then the fields that we've added to the content type. So you're going to see the body here, and you will see the percentage field that we added after the fact as well. You can go in here and hack around on the code if you want. I would recommend you don't. Go ahead and do that through your interface. And I am a custom guy, but this is one of those like don't hack core kind of things. You know, just go ahead and go through the content type interface or whatever you might want to do. If you're doing some like hot fix that you absolutely must do, like on production or something, don't do it. And then, so we also have our fields. It doesn't like to export content. Well, it does not export content. And from what I've read about it, it's because like it doesn't like to do sequential IDs.
Actually, there's a module. The way to start up. It's called node export. Then you need UUID.
UUID. Yeah.
On the node export, I don't remember. It's either patch or another module, because you can have a couple of content, and the limit output is 250. So it allows you either to increase this number or to go filter the content type that you want to move.
Very nice.
So,
very, very cool.
The only thing that I found that does not really export is block translations.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm running out of time, unfortunately. Yeah, I hate slides. I hope the presentation gave you something to think on. Like, I'm a hands-on guy. I don't like to read the manual. I want to bust my way through it. This was because they want you to have decks. So in conclusion, that's features. I'm happy to field any questions that you might have.
So let's say you install Google Analytics on a site, and then you set the UID, the site ID. That's a variable, right? Not
right. That's and you can export some, but were you gonna? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can use StrongArm to export. Go.
So you just install StrongArm. Does features integrate with that? So
Yes, basically, StrongArm allows you to export variables from a database. So anything that's actually in the variables table, you can do that. So Google Analytics, the UAID that it actually gives you, that exports perfectly. There's some things that that it doesn't quite work well with, but for the most part, it works like 95% of variables that you actually save. So
I kind of have a question, comment. I've used it on a bigger project where there's one person developing the site, and then other people were on the front end, like coding up all the stuff. And we kept on running into problems where we kept on having to update all these features from what they were doing, and we kind of ended up using it once everything was ready to deploy a certain release. And then after that, we were going to use features as a release schedule. And I was just wondering if there's any time that you choose to implement it, or if you just use it all the time, or if you work, because we usually work on dev and then download stuff until it's time to deploy and then start.
Yeah, I use features pretty much to bundle up everything that I need to. We work with a few different developers, and sometimes we're working on the same stuff within the database, and it's nice to just pull the feature down and get it into code, and so I can revert the feature to whatever I was working on. So I use it for pretty much anything. I hate that everything kind of lives in the database as it is. I mean, it's an extremely flexible system. I love Drupal for that. But I export nearly everything on the system. Like all those checkboxes, like the more items you add, they disappear. And so I try to keep that as kind of close to zero as I can, just for ease of deployment.
So you were mentioning before about collisions within the namespace. So do you have a convention for building out a feature? You say, okay, I'm going to start calling things phone number and name, and I don't know.
Yeah, well, you can set in the info there to set up as a different package. So I set up the package within there, and then I don't have specifically like a naming convention really that I use. I name the fields according to the feature if I'm forward thinking enough, and sometimes I just don't, and I run into some collisions there, and then I kind of have to decide, then if I want to bundle the other one that's a collision within that same feature. Or sometimes if I know I'm going to deploy the feature on several different websites, I'll create the one feature that has the conflict, and then I'll disable it and get rid of it, and then I'll create the other feature and then create it the same so that it has like the same dependencies. And then so I can deploy that to other sites. But if you do try to enable them together, you'll get an error message about there being conflicts. But it's nice to have that to get like a complete package. Like if I had one blog feature, but then I also had like a feature for like authors or something, and they kind of cross over into the blog realm, but I wanted something separate for different websites. I'll do the case where I export twice. You got anything, Fu?
Have you tried the Drupal 8 has the configuration files, right? And then they backrolled it to 7? And it's a dev, and I was wondering, has anybody tried that?
No, and Roger had brought that up to me earlier.
The Commerce Guys,
There's a
platform, they use that to manage all their stuff. They said there's some issues with things like panels and sometimes with image styles and those kind of things, exporting the configuration manager that's backported. But they said for most of the things, it's not a big deal. They learned what the issues were on their end, so they can fix them fairly quickly. But that's the only folks I know that are actually trying to use the configuration manager on 7.
But this features works with panels and variants and all that stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can export panels.
yeah. Drupal 7 is features more mature than Drupal 7. It's more mature than Drupal 7. There's more wider support for it. Drupal 8 is a big feature.
So what was the context?
What's that?
The context?
Yeah, I like to use context to, and actually I think given a features and a context talk kind of at the same time is worthwhile, because you can kind of speed through some stuff, but I like to use context. Well, now like there's display suite and all that, but to set up like logically how I would build out my pages, and then using features, context plugs into features, so then I can export that context, and then I can get all my settings there where, like normally like with the blocks, where it's limited with the blocks, where it'll export the block, but not like the placement or anything like that. So with
They do, it's just not, it's buggy, especially when you're talking about context specifically. Using that for logical placement is a little bit easier to do, because with the blocks page, specifically you can set up logic for URLs and roles and those kind of things, but not necessarily, I want to place this block on this page in this region, but on this page I want to place it in this region, and here I want to place it here. Context allows you to kind of logically group those things, and features allows you to export that stuff. So.
He's going to be my official answerer person. He's no good with Drupal, but you want to switch places with Roger? He can be useful. I'm done. I actually thought it ended at 50, and it ends at the top of the hour. So I guess you guys have. I rushed through some shit.